lots of different kinds of songs and music. There are songs for love, there are songs for rebellion, there are songs for sorrow, and all manners of songs. And to go over the songs, there is instruments. We have all manners of instruments. There is whistles, there is pipes, there is everything. And of course, one of the most important instruments in Ireland is a bowron. And the bowron, as we all know, is a little goat skin with a bit of wood. And the bowron has been here for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And it used to be said in Ireland that you could go out into the countryside and you'd see a nanny goat. And she'd be walking along, and behind her would be little kid goats. And the little goats would all be walking along, and the mammy would take them, and all the little goats would be behind them, "Pa, where are we going, mammy, pa?" And she'd take them to the local pub. And in the local pub, the mammy goat and the little baby goats would go, and they'd go in and they'd sit, and there would be musicians, and there would be a fella with a bowron beating away a tune, and the mammy would go, "There's your granny." And they'd go, "Oh, there's your granny with brilliant music, oh, she's wonderful. Mammy, mammy, when can we grow up to be slaughtered, their skins taken off us and turned into bowrons?" And she said, "Only if you're good. If you're good, you'll grow up and become a bowron." And so the bowron was a very, very important instrument in Ireland. But then something terrible happened. In 1958, a tourist came to Ireland. And being a tourist and being the only one there, he thought, "I'll get into Irish culture." And he looked about and all the things, and he saw the bowron. And he thought to himself, "That looks very, very easy. I'll try the bowron." And he got a bowron and he was the first bad bowron player in Ireland. And now you can go anywhere in Ireland, you go into a pub and there's musicians there, and there'll be a lassie with the fiddle and a fella with the pipe, and they'll start playing a tune, and the next thing there'll be 73 people there from Iowa and Sydney, and they'll all about their bowrons and on they go. Now, this story is about a man, and his name was Toby. And Toby was from America. And Toby came to Ireland in the 70s. And at that time, Ireland was a bit different from now. And he came to Ireland, and he was really into Irish culture and Irish ways. He wanted to know all about Ireland. And of course, he thought to himself, "I'll learn to play the bowron." And he got a bowron, and he went through every village and town and city in Ireland, and everywhere there was a session, there was Toby. And the men were scunnered with him. He would take a beat, and he would go too high, and take it too low, and they were waiting with him. But the thing was, Toby was 19, and he was handsome, even more handsome than myself. And he was tall, and he had lovely curly hair and sparkling American teeth and glittering eyes. And whilst the men were scunnered with him, Jesus, the woman of Ireland, they loved him. And Toby took it upon him as a mission to love as many of them back as possible. And so it was that Toby and his bowron were chased from every village and town and city in Ireland until they came to the one place in Ireland where you can do what you like and play your bowron as bad as you want, and that was Galway City. And he arrived here in the late winter of 1977, am I correct? About January or February, and he was at a session and sure, the music was going on, the fiddles were playing and the pipes were going, and our Toby was there in the corner, and folk getting snoring, the men were looking at him glaring, and the women were all smiling. And the session went on and on and on and on and on, and sure, it went on until dawn. And when dawn came up, the session finally finished, and Toby was going to make his way back to his hostel, and there was a woman there, and she looked at Toby, and he looked at her, and he decided to go for a walk. And he went for a walk along the banks of the Craw. And Toby, who loved all things American, because he was American, but he also loved things Irish, because he was American, he said to the woman, "Tell me all about Galway, the great myths and heroes." And the woman, whose name was Peggy, said, "Sure," but she was desperately trying to remember all the things her grand told her. And she said, "There used to be leprechauns in Ireland, and the reason they drank was that they were okay, they were very happy, but then Patrick told them to stop it, and they all got really upset, and they suspended their sexuality, took to drinking, and it was really terrible." And Toby went, "Wow! Jesus, I never knew that. Tell me more about Ireland." And she said, "Well," she said, "I'll tell you what. I'll take you to a magic place where the fairies hang out." "Oh," says Toby, "that sounds great." said, "I'll take you there." And she took along the banks of the corridor, and she went through a screen of trees, and she came to a bit of grass. And the grass was frosty, but the sun was up, and Peggy was hungry. And she looked at Toby, and Toby looked at her, and she said, "Toby, this is where the fairies hang out. And it said if you come here and make a wish, the fairies will make your wish come true." Oh, and Toby was well chuffed with this, and he said, "Peggy, what do you wish for?" And Peggy looked at Toby, and she kind of took her coat off in a kind of young Galway woman kind of way. And she said, "Toby, I think you know what I wish for." And she lay herself down, and Toby made all her wishes come true. Still blushing. So, a few hours passed before that, and they were lying there, the steam coming off them with the frosty morning. And Toby stood up, naked and handsome as myself. Oh, I think it was on. He stood up, and Peggy looked at him and she said, "Toby, what do you wish for?" And she was thinking, he's wishing for light, spring, I'm going to get a green card, it's going to be fantastic. And Toby looked at her, and he looked down, and he said, "I'll tell you what I wish for, Peggy. Peggy, what I wish for is Ireland to celebrate my genius and my prowess on the Bowron. I want the world to cheer and celebrate and take pictures of my greatness." And he walked to the edge of the corner as if he was saying it. And he threw out his arms. "Ireland, I wish you to celebrate how wonderful I am." And suddenly his foot slipped on a stone, and his two legs were up in the air, and his head skipped the stone, and he went into the water. Oh, Peggy stood up, she threw her clothes on, she looked, and Toby had gone, then he reappeared, and he was out in the middle of the corridor, and a current got him, and the current dragged him away. Well, Peggy sat down, and she was shouting, "Man the water, man the water!" And all the men around the boats, the fishermen, they started rowing, trying to find Toby. And the water went out all around Galway. The man's in the water. But they all saw his body was taken by the river, and all the way down the corridor, and it was seen going under the Wolftown Bridge, and it was under Wolftown Bridge, everybody waited, and it didn't come out again. And it wasn't seen. And Toby's body had vanished. Well, Peg was a bit upset, as you can imagine, but she recovered after a couple of weeks. And his body was never found, the fishermen never found it, the lifeguards never found it, and eventually Galway started getting on with life as usual. The thing is, something very strange had happened to Toby's body, and I will tell you what it is. Just here at the river, between Spanish Arch and the other side, the Cladder, there's a river bank there. There used to be a hole down at the bottom of the riverbed. And Toby's body, as it was bubbling through the current there, had been caught in the hole. And it was stuck inside a hole just in the river there. You could look out the window, you could see where it was. And it was caught in a hole. And it was stuck there. And of course, being a body, a dead body, it started to do some very, very interesting things. Because nature is the most wonderful thing in the world. When you die, your body begins to decompose. And it has to. Because if it doesn't decompose, it would just lay there and stay there, and you have mountains of elephants and dinosaurs and all manner of things shooting up to the sky. You have to decompose. And decomposing is very, very exciting. What happens is, the bacteria in your belly, which eats all the food, it spills out. And the bacteria is very, very hungry. Oh, I'm very, very hungry. And it goes all around your body, and it starts nibbling at your muscles, and at your cartilages, and your veins, and your fat, and it nibbles away. Oh, it's a great food, the dog is very, very happy. And of course, if you've got a good meal and you're very, very happy, you all start shagging. In Galway. So, all the bacteria start shagging, and they make baby bacteria. And all the baby bacteria are hungry, and they start chewing away as well. And all the bacteria go around this dead body, they're chewing away, they're leaving behind gas and fluids, and the body begins to bloat and swell as it does. And as it's swelling, there's fat accumulating under the skin, and when the water's cool, the fat is hard, and when the water's warm, it melts a bit like cheese. In fact, it's called log cheese. These are the things that happen to your body. Now, this was what was happening to Toby. Very exciting stuff. And the gas was